All right, back with some more defensive use of a firearm stories for you. Now, there was nearly 20 this week, and I broke them down into 2 videos to keep the videos shorter. So those of you who like these self-defense videos, you'll be getting them in back-to-back days. I didn't want to do one video that was going to be 30, 40 minutes long, so I just broke them down. So let's get started. In Constantine Township, Michigan, where we have an adult male victim and an adult male suspect. And the homeowner shot home invader armed with a knife in the upper thigh. So we're looking at more of the shooting them in the leg stories. All right, Michigan State Police troopers are investigating an alleged home invasion on Friday night in Constantine Township that ended with the homeowner shooting the suspect. Troopers were called around 10 p.m. to the home. The homeowner told troopers that a man armed with a knife entered his home, so he shot him. When the troopers arrived, they found a man lying outside of the home with a gunshot wound to the upper thigh. He was taken to the hospital where he underwent surgery and is now in stable condition. The incident remains under investigation. So this guy tries to break into the guy's house with a knife. What's that they say about the bringing a knife to a gunfight? So he learned the hard way that breaking into a house with a knife these days isn't going to get you anywhere, because so many people have guns nowadays that the knife isn't going to do much for you. All right, let's go now to Hallsville, Texas. Our victim was unharmed, and our suspect, this is William Joseph Feazell. He's 40 years old. And let's see what's going on there. A shooting near Hallsville on Friday that left one person dead may be the case of home protection. Harrison County Sheriff said the incident went from borrowing some money to aggravated robbery gone wrong. When deputies responded to the shooting call around 12:30 a.m. on Friday, the homeowner was standing out front of the house and cooperated fully. The deceased, William Joseph Feazell, was found in the kitchen, where the preliminary investigation revealed that he had been the instigator. Fletcher said that the only one with a gun involved was the one involved with Feazell. The homeowner was able to take control of the gun during the attempted robbery, which resulted in Feazell's death. Several shots were fired during the incident, but no other injuries have been reported. The investigation is still ongoing. So this guy breaks in, or it's armed robbery, and he might not have broke into the house, but he tried to rob the guy while he was there, and the victim took the gun from the guy and ended up fatally shooting him. So instant karma for the would-be robber. All right, let's move on to Hope Mills, North Carolina, where we have 24-year-old Trey Wactor. He's our victim. And our suspect is 26-year-old Sylvester McAllister. So after an investigation, police determined that the shooting was a result of a fight between 2 men. Hope Mills police said the physical altercation turned to gunfire when McAllister shot Wactor. In response, police say Wactor did fire back but missed. McAllister left the scene after shooting Wactor, but later turned himself in. On Friday, police said Wactor is being treated at an area hospital and will be charged with simple assault. McAllister has been charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, inflicting serious bodily injury, discharging a firearm within an enclosure to incite fear, and discharging a firearm within city limits. McAllister is currently being held in Cumberland County Detention Center and received a $50,000 secured bond. Hope Mills police also assured the community on Friday that this was an isolated incident. So these 2 guys knew each other, and it sounds like they're both getting charges. Yeah, Wactor was the one they listed as the victim, but he's being charged with simple assault. I don't know if that's from returning fire, like they didn't see it as self-defense. Yeah, McAllister shot Wactor. In response, Wactor fired back. I don't know how that's not self-defense, but he's getting charged. The victim is being charged with simple assault. for shooting back at a guy who shot at him. So I don't know what's going on. That one was in North Carolina, which you'd think things would be good there, but who knows. All right, we're at Jersey City, New Jersey, where we got a 28-year-old male victim, another adult male victim, and we got two suspects. One's an adult male and the other is a teen male. And I won't say the name or the age. Okay, Hudson County law enforcement officials are investigating a shooting that involved a security officer in Jersey City Wednesday night. Exact details into what prompted the shooting is under active investigation. Still preliminary information indicated that shortly before 10:20 p.m., a security officer was reportedly approached by suspects armed with a weapon. The officers fired at least one round at the suspects, but no serious injuries were reported. Jersey City police arrived on the scene and found a person with a graze wound. Okay, so you got these two, I'm going to just call them kids. Well, one was over 18, but probably still young. These two guys that go and they approach a security officer with a gun and they end up getting shot. Fortunately for them, that one was just hit with a graze wound. And it doesn't say what kind of charges they will have other than one of the suspects, the one that was under 18, he was being arrested. The other one, it doesn't even show that he got arrested. So he must not have been the one with the gun. Anyway, let's go on to Madison, Tennessee. We have an adult male, 25-year-old Adrien Mosley. That's our victim. He was unharmed, but he was arrested. All right, let's see what's going on with that. And our suspect, 21-year-old Jeffrey Hardney Jr., and he was killed. Oh, which is probably why the Mosley got arrested. Okay, so Metro Nashville police are investigating a self-defense claim after a man was shot to death at an apartment. It happened around 1 a.m. at the Nashwood Park Apartments. Investigators say 25-year-old Adrien Mosley was shot 21-year-old Jeffrey Hardney Jr. during a dispute outside the complex. Okay, more of these kids, well, they're not kids, 21 and 25. More of these guys that they get in a fight and they just want to start shooting a gun at each other. Police say Mosley initially denied going outside with a gun and told police there were no guns inside his apartment, but detectives found part of an AR-style rifle and a 30-round 9mm magazine and a 9mm drum magazine in his apartment. That's when Mosley admitted to shooting Hardney. Mosley told police he tossed the other part of the rifle and pistol into the woods, but the officers have yet to recover it. According to Metro Police, Mosley confronted Hardney after Hardney had allegedly been peering in windows, according to residents of another apartment. Mosley maintains that he fired after the man began shooting at him. Detectives are continuing in their efforts to determine whether Mosley's self-defense claim is valid. Officers did find a pistol near Hardney at the scene. Okay, Mosley is charged with evidence tampering and providing false information. So you got this guy Mosley who sees this guy outside, this Hardney guy outside peering into windows. And he's likely trying to do the right thing and goes and approaches him. And who shot first sounds like it's maybe in question at this point. But he goes out to do that. And then it's like the cover-up is worse than the crime thing. He shoots at the guy, and then he throws the gun and everything in the woods and tries to get rid of the evidence that he shot the guy. So it's going to be hard for him to claim self-defense when he tried to cover up the fact that he did it. If it was straight up self-defense and he was acting in self-defense, unless it doesn't say he's got a long criminal history or anything, but I don't know, when you're trying to hide stuff, it looks suspicious and it makes you look suspicious. So I don't know how that one's going to go because that could literally go either way depending on what judge he gets. All right, so let's go on to Houston, Texas, because I think every time I do one of these, there's one in Houston. 36-year-old male victim, and then our suspect. All right, and the victim was injured. Our suspect, 39-year-old Alvin DeAndre Parker, a male, was unharmed, but he was arrested. This shows it's a domestic violence. So probably a woman was the 36-year-old. Okay, charges have been filed against a suspect arrested in the shooting of a man on the street around 1:20 a.m. The suspect, Alvin DeAndre Parker, 39 years old, is charged with aggravated assault of a family member, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and felon in possession of a weapon. A booking photo of Parker is attached. Okay, so I got a photo of this one. The victim, 36 years old, was transported to area hospital in critical but stable condition. Officers were dispatched to a shooting call at the residence at the above address and learned Parker shot his brother for unknown reasons. When a female at the residence attempted to assist the victim, Parker fired shots at her. The woman returned fire. Neither Parker nor the woman was struck. Paramedics transported the victim to the hospital. Parker was taken into custody at the scene. He was transported to jail and subsequently charged with 3 felonies in the shooting incident. So these people, this sounds like a little weird. These people are all at a house. This dude shoots his brother, and this girl goes over to assist the victim, the brother. And so Parker starts shooting at her, and she's got a gun on her hip and starts shooting back. So they're all hanging out inside their house with guns on them. I mean, that's kind of how this reads, that they all had guns on them. And they're just hanging out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in certain areas, or maybe she doesn't like the guy and she was a little concerned and she needed to have the gun on her. But it sounds a little odd that, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe people always have their gun on them, even in their house. All right. So let's go to now Dallas, Texas, where we have a victim who was unharmed. It was an adult male. And we got 3 suspects. 1 was killed. That was an adult male. And then we got a younger, not yet an adult, who was injured and arrested, and another suspect that they didn't say the name of that was also another male suspect. So we got 3 suspects. 3 armed suspects allegedly tried to robbing a man at a gas station in Oak Cliff. Police said the driver fired shots at the suspects in self-defense. All right. A man is dead after an attempted carjacking ended with a shooting Wednesday. The incident happened outside the Quick Trip. Police say 3 suspects attempted to rob a man at gunpoint, who then shot 2 of them in self-defense. Okay, this is somebody's account of it, so this is the way it reads on here. I'd seen a youngster grab another youngster and put him in the car, but his feet was still hanging out. They drove off and tried to make a turn, but the door was still open. Okay, that was some witness. I'd seen a youngster. The suspect sped from the scene. The group drove to the hospital, where investigators said one of the suspects died from his injuries. Police said the other suspects sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Some people who live in the area said neither the attempted carjacking nor the shooting is surprising. Okay, so carjackers, this is actually, I mean, very common that people are shooting people trying to carjack them. It's not even, this is almost not even news anymore. Because the carjackings got so out of control or the lockdowns. So the carjackings got so out of control that everybody's got guns now, and everybody's protecting themselves in their cars from these kids that are carjacking them. So that couldn't have ended better. All right. We're looking at Riverhead, New York. Okay, this was a law enforcement officer who was unharmed, and a suspect that was an adult male that was injured. I don't know how the law enforcement's going to be. Here we go. A man trying to break into a Riverhead home Wednesday was shot by an off-duty deputy sheriff. The man attempted to break into a home around 4 p.m. and was confronted by the residents, who tried to stop him from entering. The man continued to attempt to enter the home and was shot once by the homeowner, who was an off-duty deputy sheriff. The man was taken to the area hospital for treatment. Okay, bad luck, dude. You break into the house of a cop. Bad luck. He ends up getting shot and in the hospital, and likely will be arrested and charged with something for that. All right, let's go on to Las Vegas, Nevada. where we have an adult male who's unharmed, and our suspect is 35-year-old Marcus Andreas Vazquez. He was killed, and this looks like it's going to be another carjacking. This looks like this is the last story I got for you today. So the Clark County Office of the Coroner released the name of the man who was killed on Wednesday. He pointed a gun at an armed driver. Marcos Andres Vazquez died from a gunshot wound to the torso, according to the medical examiner. Police responded Wednesday afternoon to a call about a white four-door Mercedes with spray paint on it driving recklessly through the neighborhood. When officers arrived, the suspect removed a mask and ran away, heading southbound on University Center Drive. Officers reported seeing a gun in his hand and held back a little bit as they watched the suspect cross a berm and run into traffic. Police lost sight of the suspect and then heard two gunshots. The lieutenant said that the suspect immediately began pointing a gun at passing traffic. He then stopped a passing vehicle and pointed the gun at the driver. The driver of that vehicle was armed with a firearm and engaged him and shot the suspect. After officers arrived, the suspect was transported to Sunrise Hospital, where he died from his injuries. Police said the driver and the passenger in the other vehicle have been extremely cooperative with the investigation. They were not injured. Lieutenant Johansson said the altercation was a possible carjacking, but he noted that the investigation is ongoing. So you got this guy who's running from the police, like on foot running from the police, tries to carjack somebody and ends up getting shot, from the person he's trying to carjack, all because he ran from the police. So this is one of those things that a lot of this stuff happens when these guys flee. And this isn't something I haven't heard about this too many times, but it probably happens quite a bit as well, that they end up getting shot not by the police officers, but by other people when they're fleeing the police. And I haven't heard a lot about stuff like that, but I imagine it happens all the time. But the cop held back and, wasn't like actively pursuing him. And the guy ended up deceased and is no longer with us as a result. So that's all I have for you today, but there'll be another video posting tomorrow of a similar nature. So if you like these self-defense stories, if you like hearing about these, there'll be one more this week. And again, I'm going to try and do these every Wednesday. Some of these stories, I don't even know if some of them would be really considered. I mean, they're self-defense, but some of them aren't really the self-defense in the way that you think about self-defense. But there's still good stories to hear, and it's good to hear that people are protecting themselves these days because, the justice system isn't doing much for us, and the cops have their hands tied, so it really falls on us to be responsible for our own safety. If the criminal does not fear the police, a judge, or prison, he must be taught to fear his victims.